Hi, Dr. Cooper here. I was just going to apologise first. For some reason, my video from yesterday didn't come up, didn't appear. I'm not at all sure why. Anyway, I'll just briefly recap what I said in that video. It was just to introduce you to the themes for this week, which are considering interdisciplinary and transnational approaches. And, to say that although it might seem very confusing to sort of try to pile even more on top of the huge content matter that you have to get through in a world history class, that these approaches really help you scale down and pare down and think about what it is that you want students to remember, as in the exercise I gave you with last Thursday. So anyway, we have this sort of tension between, producing a class that's very broad but very shallow, or one that hits a perfect balance of having a broad context, but with the ability to dive deeper occasionally into topics to draw out your themes and what you want students to remember and learn, and that's what we're trying to do. So the reading for yesterday was the second part of Manning, and the goal of your assignment was to try to start thinking about some interdisciplinary approaches and read around how some of those work. Today we're going to expand on this work a little bit with three different readings that I've chosen to have a little bit more of a think, and I'm going to talk about them essentially in the reverse order that they're given here. So because I work on early stuff, I think the use of archaeology and anthropology in world history are vital, but these can also be very important in areas where there is already written culture. And to sort of make good the gaps of things that aren't being written about. I think that's what I meant to say. It sounded very inarticulate to myself just then. So to make good the gaps of things that aren't being written about. And this particular article about the African diaspora talks about the archaeology of a people that wouldn't necessarily have left a lot of written documents because of the circumstances of slavery, and also because of transnational aspects, means that language would be very difficult to record. So archaeology is important in this case, and I'm sure you can think of many other cases, even in relatively recent history, in the 20th century history, where archaeology becomes important. Of the other two articles, let me take Bentley's first, Jerry Bentley's article, Myths, Wagers, and Some Moral Implications of World History. What he's trying to get at here is the place of myth and myth history, to use McNeill's term, in creating an ecumenical history for the world, so that rather than these very nationalistic histories that we've talked about quite a lot, which nourish memory but also have the ability to provoke extreme violence, trying to create something that nourishes memory on a world scale is a very important challenge, but a challenge, a wager, if you like, that's necessary because there's already some pretty big players in the game. And he talks about this from the perspective of right and left. He's writing in 2005. Maybe we would add different perspectives 10 years on, or maybe these are still relevant. I'll let you see for yourself. And then the McGrew article, as if you haven't had enough world historiography yet, does a good job, I think, of looking at how some individual writers in the recent period, up to 2006, have incorporated different interdisciplinary approaches into their worlds. And it's a review article, so it's just a quick jog through some of the more important books. And if there is things that you're interested in, you might sort of find a book in here that you've either been meaning to read for a long time or have already read, or things that go along with them and a useful sort of contextualized criticism of some pretty major books up to the 2006 period, which includes things like the history of weather and the history of seafaring, the history of globalization. The last thing I wanted to do today is just pop into this blog here, exercise 6, and this is just ask you to develop a teaching idea that is interdisciplinary. Just waiting for it to open. Okay, and I just wanted to point out very briefly that, obviously you go into here, this looks like you create your own blog, but if you want to look at the blogs of other people, you need to, it's not that obvious, but you need to sort of click on these little buttons at the side here. If it's going to work, and that'll bring you to the next one in the series. This is mine, this is empty. It doesn't want to do it. Anyway, it's not doing it. It's not playing with me. This is what you do if you want to move to somebody else's blog to look at them, and it's not playing right now. I'm having some internet issues at home at the moment. It's quite stormy here. Okay, so I don't think anybody has asked me anything of import that I need to tell everybody, and hopefully you're all plugging along nicely. Please just send me an email if anything is confusing, as always. Thank you.